pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The notice requirement provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act has been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given and was published in the Asbury Park Press on October 25th, 2013, and Two River Times on November 1st, 2013. This notice has been posted at the Township of Middletown Sewerage Authority, Administration Building, Township of Middletown Municipal Building, and filed with the Township Clerk. Roll call.
Mr. Marco?
Here.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith? Here. Mr. Stokes?
Present.
Mr. Reed?
Yeah.
Mrs. Zapsik is not here. Mrs. Bow?
Here, Mrs. Zapsik will be here shortly.
Okay.
Let's see, minutes of the regular meeting, we've got 2 months, actually, the minutes for September 23rd, which will need a motion in a second.
Do I have a motion? Have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes, there was one of those meetings I wasn't here. I think I was at this meeting.
In September.
Okay.
He wasn't here for September.
Okay, Mr. Stokes?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mrs. Bow?
Yes.
Okay, and second is the minutes for October 23rd.
So moved.
You have a second?
October 21st, actually, the third one.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Stokes?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mrs. Bow?
Yes.
Okay. Consideration of a consent agenda.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do on the operating bills. Again, I see Mr. Myler is not here. We identified where we are taking from the employees for their contributions to the pension or supplemental annuity. But we are not identifying where the employee amounts are being contributed to their health benefits. And I would like to insist that that line item be put in there so we know and the public knows the employees are paying towards their health benefits.
Okay, we will have Mr. Myler look into that. Thank you.
On the page one, the Ashbrook bill, is that a residual bill from way back? Ashbrook, so I mean,
I don't
partly.
believe so, George.
No, I don't think so. We order from them from time to time.
Like 482.92, they're typically they're cleanup guys, aren't they?
No Ashbrook?
No.
Yeah.
No.
No, that's a bill.
That's a Ross one. Okay. I thought it was this, you know what?
No.
Say anything.
That's,
Wrong guy. Wrong guy is right. Okay.
Anybody else?
Ashbrook.
I do have, it's not a question, it was a thought, but I realize we can't do this. The purchase of stamps are going up, cost of stamps, and I was hoping that we could somehow put it into the meter so that we would be charged current cost. However, I spoke to Ray, and unfortunately we can't, just so that everybody knows that. We did look into that. And
You could always buy a roll of stamps.
I think that would take more time than the money we would save.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah, but everyone should know that we do check into that. Okay. Any other questions?
Did we vote on 74-2013? We've got to get there.
The consent agenda is not
We're not there yet.
There was
Is that one part of the consent agenda?
The construction bill, yeah.
I just have a matter of information on the construction stuff. The last item, Granger, that portable generator, for information, what was that for?
There was a small generator.
That's a small one, yeah.
Is that something that got wiped out in Sandy and we're on replacing it, or we just need it for?
Yes, it is actually.
Okay, so it's actually a replacement.
Yeah, and it was claimed.
I know we agreed that we're gonna replace pieces as we need them rather than
Yeah.
wholesale and stuff.
Yeah, we had a job to do, we needed one, and
Okay.
it's time to do it.
Okay, good enough.
Okay. May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Stokes? Sorry, Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mrs. Epser?
Yes.
Mrs. Duff?
Yes.
Okay, the engineer status report.
Okay. Hurricane Sandy's report, I think Ray will get into this more, because we got the spreadsheet that he prepared, and we could expand it on this a little bit too, so as needed, we're inputting the information when it comes in from Ray and authority on the invoices that have been paid. Deepdale Drive, we're still waiting for DEP response on the information we submitted for the final approval of that project. This study, we're close to finishing this up on the MCC generator cogen evaluation project that's probably have it done in the next couple of weeks. The digested gas cogen project, part of that would be a reevaluation of certain aspects of it. Not an extensive reevaluation or redesign in any case, but just the modifications that we proposed before, plus some additional modifications, reduction in the storage capacity, and a few other items. Obviously, if we have a building out there, we're looking at it to put the engines in the building, controls in the building, and not need these separate containers for the engines, which was the original design. Rich indicated, he had contacted following the meeting last month. Rich.
I reached out to the Clean Energy Program requesting the extension and was told in essence that we're premature. They were so in tune with our situation that the man referenced John's initial request for the extension. He said, we're aware of it, we're aware of it through your engineer. You're actually premature. We know your situation, we're aware of it. You won't even really consider that until 6 weeks out, which is sometime halfway through January. So we are thoroughly covered our bases with regard to that extension.
So what are they gonna do? They're gonna
Well,
notify us at that time?
I think we should contact them again.
Yes.
You know, and indicate to them the current status, where we're at.
Right.
And I think this would be a situation by then that we'll know better once we've had the opportunity to discuss this study and, what direction we're going in.
Did you get a feel at all where they were going?
No, I didn't get a feel then, and I don't think
Yeah,
Rich got
I
a feel
mean,
from the
he
response
was-
I saw.
What I did get a feel was that they absolutely were aware of our situation and were aware of John's request, they're now aware of my request, and they will deal with it when they deem it's appropriate to deal with it.
Okay.
So,
John, you mentioned less capacity because, could you go through that a little bit further?
Less storage
Storage
capacity, just to save money, basically.
To save money up front.
Yes, to save upfront money costs, and basically, when we went in there, we only have storage for about 10 hours anyway. Basically, what it is a buffer. The production of gas, if it was constant, then you wouldn't need storage. Because it's not constant, you want some storage so that you can operate the engines continuously.
Right.
So that's the issue.
Okay. And how much less are we going to storage? 8 hours? Some number?
From 10 to 5.
And do you think that's sufficient?
I think it would work. I think it would work. It depends on the production of gas, We're also looking at the possibility here of, instead of having these freestanding units, looking again at the digester covers, having the digester covers. That way it takes the flooding issue out of the equation.
What the cost savings be by doing that?
We don't know. That's what I'm finishing this up, and I know removing or reducing the storage in half would save $250,000-300,000
Okay.
if we just cut out one of the units.
Okay, do we have anywhere, I know we're redesigning this thing, do we have anywhere here, an outline of all of the pieces that are going into it that are different than what we originally proposed?
Oh, yeah. We have that from months ago. Once the bids came in, we did a complete, looked at it and spoke to the manufacturers, and most of it had to do with service and warranty issues that was originally implied by the funding people that we needed. And when we checked back with them, prices came in high, they modified their requirements at that time.
But we're still essentially going with the original proposal.
Yeah. There's not a lot of change. We're not going in there, we're not redesigning this right now. What we will do is, and we were already asked for additional cost updates, if we eliminate these separate containers and put everything, because the wiring and everything, it was confined space, it was an issue there. You put them into the building, and it was not cost effective before to construct a building, separate building strictly for the cogen. But when we're looking at it from the standpoint of the MCCs and the generator, expanding the size of the building is not that significant in an increase in cost. So whether or not it's a cost increase or not, I think it's a better installation if we could put all of the equipment, generators, the other engines in there and handle it that way. I don't know how much, I don't think this is going to be a huge savings. It might be 50,000, it might be 100,000. I don't think it's going to be a huge savings in that respect. But I think when we looked at it before, we can get this down close to 3 million.
That includes the generator.
No, that's the cogen. That's the cogen. That's not the generator.
Okay,
and
not the,
MCC.
okay, wait.
Right.
Say that again? Not the
The
generator.
cogen project was 4.5 million. We looked at that, we cut back things, we got it down to about 3.3, 3.2. We cut back the storage, we get it back to around 3, and we might be able to make some more. So that aspect of this project would be $3 million.
And the other aspect is the integration of the generator.
Yeah, building a new building and putting in new MCC equipment, and then looking at it from the standpoint of either a new generator or the existing generator moved up to the other level.
Okay. This is probably subject you and I need to get together on anyway.
As soon as I get the report, I think what we should do is we should sit down, I'll get it over to Ray, get copies, so basically we can then sit down and hopefully sit down before the next meeting and then have, all this together.
We need to have a side discussion on bed 1, 2, and 3, just to get a full understanding of it, then we're ready to go.
Okay.
We're not gonna put a basement in that building, are we?
Well, we need basement. Then we have
Make
enough.
sure.
What do you think we got them pumped for?
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
That's how the.
Main Street repair, it's on hold, pump station emergency facilities, evaluation of the pump station's susceptibility, those reports have been done, the meetings, site visits with the gas company have taken place, and applications have been submitted. I think things went well. George was at these meetings as well as our guys. Emery Drive Pump Station force main is out for bid. So we're expecting bids in on the 5th of December. Emery Drive, oh, that was the force main. That was the pump station I was just talking about. With regard to the force main, those applications have been submitted to DEP together with the on-site plans for Van Hollen. It's probably going to be, at least another month or 2 before DEP acts on that application. Anybody have any other questions?
Anything?
Okay, there are three subdivisions to talk about tonight. The first one is the White Castle Restaurant on Route 36 on Main Street.
The board should be aware that this application came to this board not by resolution, this is the normal case, not by resolution of the planning board, but rather by court order. That doesn't mean we treat it any differently, but it was as a result of litigation, planning board was subject of an order to approve same, and it's now before us. But we treat it just as we would treat any other application. It has been treated so, and my understanding that it's on for approval this evening.
Okay. I have a
Yes,
question.
the applicant has addressed the technical issues that we commented on with the initial submittal and has addressed those issues.
Okay. I have a question. Ray, there were 2 residential units, and now it's going to be a commercial.
Right.
How much of a connection, do we get the .56
.56.
connection fee for about 2,500 or so?
Yes.
Just want to make sure we don't lose it.
So that needs to be moved for approval.
May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
And a second? Have a second? You don't even like this.
Charlie?
Who's the one?
It's dangerous to my health, I love those damn things.
I'll second.
I don't want
Okay. Andy seconded it. Can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith? Yes. Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Zapsik?
Yes.
Mrs. Bell?
I just love White Castle, yes. No, I don't eat White Castle. Okay, moving on.
Okay, the second one is for an organization, 180 Turning Lives Around on basically Route 35 and Magnolia Lane.
Okay. I would just like to make sure that we please get contractor's plans, because as I remember this application, there is a kitchen in there, and I think there are several sinks and a few stoves.
Mr. Van Dorp, is that your recollection upon review? Did you notice there was a kitchen?
I think
This
it's,
space 12 boarding rooms with no kitchen facilities. This is to be verified upon receipt of the architectural
Oh, wait,
plan.
no
We've
kitchen
asked for-
facilities.
There is.
In the
Unit,
boarding
there
room.
is kitchen facilities there.
We've asked for the architectural plans.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wrote down where will they eat? If you have a boarding room there and you're taking care of them there, they may have a central dining room, a central kitchen.
What we're saying here is the individual rooms do not have kitchen facilities. However, there are kitchen facilities that they will verify with the architectural
Yeah,
plans.
it's a
We always
commercial.
ask for the architectural.
That's where the 7 came out.
Yeah, I think the first floor has the
Okay.
kitchen, the second floor are the rooms, and I think there's a bathroom shared, like a Jack and Jill bathroom. So there might be 6 bathrooms for the 12 units. I mean, it's a great project, absolutely great project.
Okay, so that needs to be moved.
May I have a motion?
Yeah. I'll make a motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call?
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith? Yes. Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mrs. Zapsik?
Yes.
Mrs. Bell?
Yes.
okay, the third project is by Roger Mumford, Yellowbrook Property Company, and it's basically for adding 6 new family units to an area on Middletown Winthrop Road and Monkshire Drive. There's 7 houses, of which one is an existing house, so it'll stay there.
Is that the Cowasso track?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to be clear, I'm going to recuse myself from this.
Make a motion to approve.
We've met with the contractor, I mean, the engineer on this as well as the developer.
Well, it's not a unit, that's all it is. Okay.
Did I have-
Second?
Okay.
All right. So who did I have the motion?
Yeah.
Pardon me.
And who seconded?
Okay.
I'll second it. Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Mr. Stokes?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Zephyr?
Yes.
Okay, next is the Director's monthly status report. No lost time accidents during the month of October. All operations were conducted within permit guidelines. Let's see. Financial results, we actually were a little bit, just a little bit over in revenue last month, but it was actually a couple extra weeks in the month, so kind of skewed things. For the year, we're still a little bit under in revenue, but we're up to 21% under for the year in expenses, so we're pretty good in that. The volume is still 4.34 million gallons per day. Nothing new with either our permit or the coastal discharges. As far as FEMA goes, we spent a lot of today basically summarizing where we are with FEMA, and I'll go through that spreadsheet next. But the last month, we got one check for $900, which basically made our total for FEMA so far about $61,000. We received our last check for the vehicles. That was $247,000. So altogether, we've got about $310,000 between the JIP and FEMA to date. Let's see. We also we were told we don't know anything beyond being told yet, but basically the township received a grant from one of the letters of intent that we had put in. We put 3 letters of intent in very quickly after the hurricane, and the first one was for a new generator, and we put for $500,000. Now the township got a letter that they received $500,000 from these letters of intent, and our piece of it is $159,000. So we actually at the AEA yesterday, we were talking to 2 of the DEP people. And we said to them, can we use it for raising the building? And they basically had no trouble with that. We could, in fact, they said we could do we could use it for planning, for design, for anything, as long as we account for it. So, hopefully that stays that way. But $159,000 towards the $1 million of raising the building is good.
10%.
Let's see, the collection system, we had 27 calls last month, 7 blockages. We've done, with our dig-up contract, we've actually done 9 lateral dig-ups. We did just one the other day on Fort Monmouth Road, and we were doing 1 today in the plant, so we've still got 2 more in the plant.
What's the plant ones?
It's
Issues.
Well, there's a valve behind the return building that's down. This same valve has been replaced twice already, so there's something wrong with it there. But it's one of these, you have to go down about 5 feet or so, and there's a lot of stuff in there, so it all has to be dug out.
Is it a buried valve?
Yeah, it's buried, yeah.
So why, now that we're going down, we're not gonna rebury it, are we?
Well, we'll probably put a new valve in and then bury it again.
Why are we burying it?
Well, the pipe is down there, it's 5 feet down.
Why don't we put a structure around it so we have access to it if we're gonna do it? I mean, is it a valve we need for anything?
Yeah, it's the scum valve, it's the line from the scum truck, comes all the way around.
So you would need access to it, you can't dig all the time for access.
No,
It's extended, it's
Yeah.
extended up.
yeah.
Oh, the shaft.
Yeah, it's a shaft.
But if we continually have an issue with
That
it.
shouldn't be happening.
Has anybody determined what the actual issue is?
Well, we've replaced the valves each time that they fail, so it's not the valve, just something else is going on over there.
Well, why are we then,
We need to find out what's doing that before we do we put another valve in. We really need to know what the problem is.
If I may,
Yes.
Please, yes.
it has not been replaced. It's a lot deeper than 5 feet. It's the operator on it that keeps failing. Too much torque on it, it snaps.
Operator and.
In terms of
It's a gear-driven operator that, you know,
Right.
actually, it's a right angle operator. That's what keeps failing. So we're gonna replace it with a standard, non-rising stem gate valve. We have them all over the place. No trouble with them. Done with that type of
Oh,
valve.
so
Okay, so you do
this
know
time
what
we're gonna
the
fix it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's the answer I'm looking for, not just
I had to step in.
rebury it and we go back to it.
Good answer. 5 gold stars for you.
Thank you.
Okay, on the Fairview, the Oswald contract, we're basically lining up to clean the Fairview wet well, which is a 2-day ordeal. Also, we started using Oswald to locate the missing manholes that we couldn't find. So we're, hopefully this winter, we're gonna do a lot of work like that to try to get those 10% of each basin that we weren't able to
I
find.
assume we're gonna record these and keep them.
Oh, yeah, we take GPS readings. Yeah. Let's see, our employees that were, have been injured, and Richard Resser is back on full duty. John Molnar, who had the shoulder operation, wound up having a second shoulder operation last week because it wasn't healing right. And then one of our operators on the night shift, Art Conquest, sliced his hand at home. He's gonna be out for about 12 weeks.
We have temporary disability, don't we?
Oh,
Yeah, so yes, come on.
How bad is it?
Well, it was a good slice. And you know, it's kind of funny, but the first thing the doctor asks is, where do you work? And he says, you're not going back there for a while, you know, so. But,
As long as he has obviously sick time, less
He does.
temporary disability, I just want to make sure that he stays protected.
Now, in a situation like that,
yeah.
for whatever job he had, is there another temporary assignment we would give him? So he would come back to work and,
Well, if he's allowed for light duty, yes, we do.
Okay. how do we determine that?
Usually it's the doctor, yeah. They actually don't like, these guys kind of climb the walls being home, so.
Yeah, I know that.
They're all, they're usually asking me for light duty.
And it's not
Yeah, but we
workers'
need to
comp
be
case,
very
so.
careful because we
Yeah.
don't want him
Oh,
to
no,
over.
it has to be, they have to be released,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the doctor.
I don't want to exacerbate a pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
Send him our regards.
I won't go.
Let's see, one new subdivision application, one new connection fee in October. Key indicators will do the external contacts. I met with Jason Greenspan and a couple people from the planning department about Hurricane Sandy preparedness. Okay.
We're ready and nothing came.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see, the hiring resolution, authorizing the hiring of Brian Richmond as staff engineer.
Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Marie had to leave, that's why I was kind of grabbing quickly.
Who moved that?
Yeah,
I
that was Emil and
Emil.
Andrew. Okay. Mr. Rogers?
No.
Okay, Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Stokes?
He doesn't.
No, you
I'm
didn't.
not voting.
Okay. Mr. Reedy?
Yes.
Mr. Zapsik?
Yes.
And Mrs. Val?
Yes.
Thanks. The key indicators for the third quarter. Let's see. The lost time accidents, the two occurrences, Ray Stover with his hand and Richard Ressler with his shoulder. Richard Ressler wound up 34 days on workers' comp, so big number. The sick days doesn't represent, I don't believe it represents the workers' comp, the spike. I think it's John Mulder's sick days. He was taking sick days then. Financial, as we said, we're 21% under budget for the year so far. Financial, revenue, we're just a little bit under where we were projected to be. But investment interest, we're basically ahead for the year a little bit. On this one, this general fund account, that last month there where it showed the big $3 million, I stacked those numbers at the last meeting, basically, I put in not only design costs, but also the cost for the project, and I'll take that out in the future. The billing collection rate, 92%. The office is getting ready with the lien sale, that's all coming. The equivalent, new connections, we're ahead for the year. Atlantic Highlands, we're a little bit ahead. The phone is up. I don't have an answer, I guess everybody's talking a lot.
Was that the private line stuff that's doing it?
What?
The skater,
For the
private lines?
the
That's
lease
pushing
line.
that up? The lease lines, yeah,
that's
skater lines.
yeah, that's basically.
Because I thought we had an increase on that one.
Well, they're very expensive. That's
Oh, no question about it.
bottom line, yeah.
They want to get out of it, that's really what they want to tell you.
Yeah, no, we have that project and we're going to move ahead with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you call it, please?
Skater.
Yeah.
Skater.
Skater?
SCADA, is that it?
Yes, yeah.
Skater.
Supervisory control and data acquisition.
Basically, it's a reverse data system from the far end in rather than the central out.
Okay.
Skater. Very common.
Okay.
Electricity, we're way down, and that, reflects the lower flow, lower load coming in. Natural gas is gonna go way up now with the winter coming. Water,
Well, who's gonna, is that for the digesters? Or
no,
is it
just
the buildings?
the building heat, building heat, and the natural gas is used in the backup boiler.
Right.
The water, we've been using a lot of water. There's no evidence of breaks or anything. I kind of forget, was there any specific thing going on?
No, we did not have any
Yeah.
breaks.
We're actually under, as I say, we don't have any leaks or anything, but we seem to be using a lot of water. The
If
treatment
we're down
plant,
in flow, what would be?
No. Water.
I know, but I'm just
Water.
saying,
Potable
what
water.
are we using the water for?
Drinking.
No.
we use it to mix batches of polymer, we use it for some seal water. We use it in different places, laboratory,
Wash.
yeah,
Use it for washing,
yeah, laboratories,
facilities, things like that.
yeah.
But we don't use the chlorinated output for any cleaning purposes, do we? Do we?
We do,
Yes.
right?
Just hosing down equipment, but everything else is potable water.
Okay.
Okay, the treatment plant flow, you can see this whole year, we've been just below the last 3 years, it's very low. The VOD, again, we don't talk about that new, the construction, the new aeration tanks and all, but, we're down at a VOD of 3 and a solids of 7. I mean, it's just working great. And with the load being reduced a little bit now, the sludge is in the tank for longer and the digester for longer. So you see the solids are up in the 17s and 18s again, which basically means that we're putting less water out and it should cost a little less to haul it away. Service calls, we're tracking higher than last year, but the actual amount of blockages and everything is not higher. It's pretty much the same.
So you mentioned you had 27 call-outs and only 7 blockages.
Yeah.
What were the other 20 then?
Well, there's a lot of requests. People want to know where their cleanups are. There's just a lot of questions, And we address all the questions.
Service to the people.
Yeah. Okay, the analysis of funds available. this is all the active projects that we have that are pretty much of a capital nature and being in design or study phase.
Okay, one issue I raised previously was the Emery Drive station. You only have, I guess, the design cost. We already have an estimate of what the project cost is. I would think that that should be in there.
I was just waiting for the bid cost, that was all.
Well, we already have an estimate of what it should be, and we've already kind of committed in our direction, so
Yeah.
I would think that number should be
Yeah, that's.
carrying in,
Okay, it's
an overall
basically
number.
When is that bid cost coming in, next week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, so I mean, and after the bid comes in and we award the contract, then we just adjust that number to what it actually will be. But in essence, we have committed our resources to that. And that should be reflected in.
We'll have an actual number by the next meeting. Is it coming out?
Out of capital.
They're coming out of coaching?
$500,000?
Yeah.
Just, no, just out of the general fund.
General capital.
Yeah.
So I would think that this sheet should reflect that. That we actually made the commitment.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's just a matter of what the, you know, I mean, we can put it in now, we can put it in later.
Well-
We haven't accepted anything.
I understand that, but
We should know what the.
this is a 12-month projection costs,
Yeah.
12 months, and this is one of the items in there, and we've got to cover the whole cost of that project,
Yeah,
unless we basically say we're going to put it on hold.
yeah,
Yeah, it should be listed.
yeah. Okay. The operating budget, basically, this is as of the end of September 30th, okay? I was asked about giving a summary up to the end of October, but it turns out that the October bills are being okayed tonight, so they actually haven't been paid.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And the last item is George's report.
Does the board have any questions?
Whoa, you didn't get a report yet?
Well, I detailed a couple of relatively minor issues we
Now,
had.
you're involved in those dig-ups, in-plant dig-ups, right?
Absolutely.
One we know about, how about the other two?
One is a chlorine contact tank that's being pursued. That's a 10-inch valve coming out of our chlorine contact tank for processed water in the plant.
Yeah.
That should be done tomorrow. The other is a scum line that we had talked about
Right.
previously. And one is a processed water, utility water leak, somewhere between Brian's office and return
Okay,
building.
Brian's office?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the field,
No.
Water leak?
in the field.
In the fields, I like that, somewhere out there.
Yeah, it is, generally in that
Yes,
vicinity.
okay.
You just walk out there and when you start sinking in the mud, you know
No,
where it
they,
is.
But it's going to a hydrant, which
yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not leaking now. We can shut off the valve feeding it, but we know exactly where it is. There's a big patch of green grass. Whenever we have to feed the line to clean off our chlorine screens,
Those nitrates are good.
we have to open the valve,
Right,
and then you
right,
can see a nice patch of green grass where it's being
So in
watered,
the drought, that's the only green place around.
pretty
You
much.
got plenty of fertilizer.
Indeed. I forgot about the FEMA funds thing that I gave out. The purpose of this was to, I think I had explained that there were, when we first did these project worksheets, they were called, and they were given these numbers by FEMA, 080 E201 through 215. And what happened was when New Jersey took over, New Jersey gave them their own numbers, okay? And of course, we had trouble telling which was which. And basically, once you get into the program, you have to look around, and basically, I had looked a couple days ago, I couldn't find it, and this morning I got on and I found it. So basically, we correlated the FEMA numbers and the New Jersey numbers. We also we looked at all the submitted costs, and then what at this point is considered eligible, and then what they paid us, okay? So what we were paid basically is $247,000 from JIF, and about $61,000 from FEMA. Now, there's a column in here for gains and losses. There's a couple that actually the money went up, and you know, you kind of scratch your head saying, why did the money go up? You know, well, it turns out on this third one down, they actually took money from our hazard mitigation program and plugged it into this program, which is two entirely separate programs. So I didn't, you know, it kind of blindsided me. But that's why, you know, basically we went from submitted cost to eligible cost, and it went up. So basically, there's a hazard mitigation program that was for $444,000. Now it's, you know, minus $80,000 off that. And then,
But there's no payment on it.
no, there's no payments yet on that one at all.
If you get payment, there's no gain or loss.
Yeah, well, just.
Well, you're projecting.
Yeah. Let's see, there's two that are considered unobligated, and the second one, for $63,000, that one is listed as being completely ineligible. We have to find out why on that one. But then the other one that's unobligated is actually the big one having to do with replacement of the motors and everything that George had done. And that one is listed as having an eligibility of $449,000, although they haven't moved ahead with it.
So that's still in the running?
Still in the running. So if you look at this next to last column, it's not yet paid. I mean, I think we could expect up to $600,000 still from them. We just, haven't gotten anything yet.
If the key one here is the motors.
The motors, yeah.
I mean, that's the whole world, right?
Yes. And then, well, that's, all these ones here with mandatory NFIP, that's National Flood Insurance Program. So basically, there's another one here that's E209, that actually is the compost shed roof. And it's kind of funny because we scurried like anything to get those costs in, and then basically they rejected it.
Well, they gave me $900, didn't it?
Gave us $900. But
So that's where one of the checks was for.
Yeah.
We accomplished something.
Yeah, well, no, even more than that, we basically just have to go after the JIF now, because that was wind damage. But yeah, we found the two 900s and the 1627. I think we should be getting a check for $8,000 pretty soon, because that one's in the work.
Well, how do you know where these things are? So you can say, well, in 30 days, we should be getting this.
Well, they are actually, they're tracked in this program. It's really a good program. You can see, as it goes along, each time somebody touches it, they update it, you can see all that. So, they list things, although, on that one that's listed unobligated, there's nothing there. It's just, it ends.
How about how good is the program in projecting the motors?
There's nothing on that, nothing.
So that hasn't moved,
Right.
but there's no explanation of that,
No,
other than it's a big number.
probably. Most of these ones you can see that have been paid are less than, I think the break is either 62 or 64,000. So the bigger ones that haven't touched.
Ray, did you talk to any other executive directors? Are they basically in the same position that we are?
I didn't speak yesterday. We were at lunch, we were sitting with Musconetcon, and basically they had wind damage, and they pretty much got their money from JIF.
They're finished.
I spoke with Southeast Monmouth, and they had all those pump stations destroyed, and they did get like $1 million, like right off to do something with. And then I think Bayshore got money for their incinerator. But otherwise, I don't know. I really don't know at this point.
So is it like, because we were in good condition because we kept everything up, we're getting less than people?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's exactly.
Yeah.
I think
because
that's
they-
exactly what's happening.
Yeah, because they got $1 million up front, and we're getting
Not only that, but,
little chicken.
you know,
Okay.
I hate to say this, but I think there's some politics at play. The Bayshore Regional Sewerage Authority, which is a traditionally Democratic-controlled authority, received support from Frank Pallone, and Frank Pallone released the big press announcement how he got them $6 million. Now, we've asked Frank Pallone for assistance, we received none.
We have two congressmen that represent our servicing area.
Right.
We should be in contact with them as well as.
Well, we were in
two US
contact with
senators.
Congressman Pallone. and
What about Smith?
Basically got it cold shoulders.
What about Smith?
I don't know if we were in contact with
Well,
Congressman.
gee, he represents a portion of the area that we service.
But-
We should be in
But
contact with
technically,
them.
we're in Congressman Pallone's
Well,
district.
yeah, that area is, Chris Smith is the other side. Can we keep going to Mr. Pallone and asking him?
I will again reach out. I see the big press release that was brought out that
Well, we
he,
do a press conference that Pallone's ignored us.
Well, I don't know that we want to go there, but I'm just thinking.
Why not?
it
A lot
just-
of the other authorities, including Long Branch, and a lot of the others that are down along the coast have not gotten responses.
Okay, so we're not
It's
alone in
no,
this.
no.
All right.
Is there any way we can go to the state, who's basically now administrating this thing, and get a feel, bring up a particular case number and say, it's been sitting kind of still for quite a long time, is there any reason?
No, actually, I have, Brian's working on that already, where we were able to,
Okay.
yeah. See, today was a day we made sense of where we were, and now we can move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we don't get left in the dust as all this money is given out, and then there's none left for us.
That's why I say go to Smith's office as well as Pallone's. You send them a letter, the same letter, and point out that this services people that are in both congressional districts. This plant may be located in one, but without it, people in Smith's district would not be serviced either. So these are people that it's our ratepayers who are in Smith's district and Pallone's district. It affects both congressional districts. They should both be brought into it.
Can we do that?
Sure. Again, I'll reach out to Congressman.
And I'd like the US senators also reached out to at the same time, because this is ridiculous.
Anyway.
Well, but yeah, but if.
Yeah, but Long Branch is not
if
getting a response
We're hearing
either,
that
so.
other
We're not the only ones,
authorities
okay?
are in the
I know,
same
but let's
position as
not take any
us.
chances. We ring the bell properly, we make sure all politicians, the elected officials, who are there to represent all the people, not just the party they represent, whether it's Pallone representing everybody or Smith representing everybody, or the two United States senators. We're the taxpayers here, we're the voters here, we're the ratepayers here. We're trying to protect all our ratepayers, whether they're Republican, Independent, Democrat, or Communist.
Okay, next is public comments.
Hi, Lynn Baum, 19 May Court, a few comments. When is the lien sale, what's the date?
Well, that's controlled by the tax office. We're just tag along as a courtesy, but I think it's in December.
Yeah, it's right before Christmas. Yeah.
Well, I know it's in December, you don't know the exact date?
Well, we submit our liens and.
Actually, I'm sorry. I have a lot of comments, so if you don't know the specific day, that's fine, I'll find out elsewhere, so I'd like to move on, I apologize. Also regarding, you mentioned PSE&G earlier, rates going up, and I don't know if you're aware of this, and it may not affect you, because it may only relate to residential gas rates, natural gas rates. PS&G actually had an adjustment for November and December. It was a 60%, roughly a 60% reduction on their gas rate for residential customers for November and December to make up for overcharges for prior periods they didn't really get into specifics, but wanted to let you know about that. It may not affect you because this is a commercial entity or you may have a special contract, but just wanted to mention it.
I don't have PSE&G.
Oh, you don't?
Thank you.
We're in New Jersey Natural Gas.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize.
And we got that gas from,
Actually, I do too. I apologize. I wasn't
Yeah,
thinking
we don't
that.
even buy the gas from them.
Okay, let's see here. Yes, other quick things. Let's see. I noticed that you just hired a new engineer. I guess that's for the manager's position?
That's correct.
That's great. Do you know his background? Can you talk a little bit about his background, where he came from prior to this?
He's a trained engineer that came from a private firm who's got experience, particularly in wastewater management. And he's got extensive experience in this, and we need a staff engineer. It's been a position
Okay.
that's been vacant for over a year.
I know.
He's filling it.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
He is licensed.
And when does he start? Did he start already?
He started on November 14th.
Okay.
Congratulations, Ray.
Okay, and just 2 other comments. I put in a request for the resolution hiring the recording secretary, Ms. Schilberg. And I've never actually seen such a short resolution. It was a total of 20 words. And what I was looking to see on it was a description of job duties, which is typical in an appointment resolution, that there's usually some description of what the job responsibilities will be, at least brief. Certainly 20 words, it's not there. Could I ask this board what you think the responsibilities of the recording secretary are? Because I see her only recording votes, not taking minutes at all.
That woman was hired how long?
Can the board answer this question?
How long?
I don't see why this needs a legal opinion.
So,
Can the board answer this? What do you
Over
view?
15 years ago, prior to anyone sitting here tonight being on the board. So I don't know that the board can speak to that.
1999?
7.
No, it says 1999 on the resolution.
1999. Still believe
Is anyone
that.
here in 1999, Mr. Stokes?
Yes, I was.
And what do you think the job duties are of this person?
Mr. Stokes, I'm going to advise you that you don't have to get into an internal.
Okay, because I gotta tell you, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you have a recording secretary who records nothing.
Thank you for your comment.
I have one other, just one other. At the beginning of this meeting, Mr. Stokes, you made a comment that you wanted to see an adjustment to some document, and I wasn't really sure what document you were referring to, but the adjustment you were looking for was an entry to clarify that employees are contributing toward their health care. I'd like to know if the board members are.
Board members?
I
Any
think
board,
we're about
any board member that.
And
needs
again,
healthcare benefits
Do we need to have the
complies
attorney
with
answer
all
every
New
single
Jersey
question?
state statutes.
Pardon?
Thank you for your comment.
What was the response? Is it a yes or no answer? Are
Well,
they
you were
contributing?
speaking over me. You could probably listen back on the recording here.
Are you contributing toward your health care, Ms. Val, Ms. Smith?
Any person who receives healthcare benefits in this authority complies with all New Jersey statute. And I see your 5 minutes is up. Thank you for your comments. Any other members from the public? There being none, we'll close the public session.
Make a motion to close the public portion?
Second.
No, I'm first.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, next second? Okay. We're going into the-
Where it is necessary and proper for this board to enter into executive session pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act for the purpose of discussion of the following items: contract negotiations, pending or anticipated litigation, personnel issues. The minutes of said meeting to be released when the board deems in its reasonable judgment that the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Would someone please make the motion to enter into executive session?
Okay, do we have to first? Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
Are there specific reasons why you're entering into
Would someone
executive
please make
session?
the motion to enter into executive session?
Yeah,
You
second.
realize the resolution's supposed to be somewhat specific as to the reasons?
Can you call the vote?
Okay, I have a second and a first.
Mr. Rogers?
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Reading?
Yes.
Mr. Zapsi?
Yes.
Mrs. Flowers?
Yes.
Madam Chairman, before we actually begin the executive session, can we take a 2-minute break to use the facilities?
Certainly, and can you please return
Yeah,
Mrs.
sure.
Downs'